welcomes you back to another story that grips the heart and refuses to let go. Today's tale follows a powerful CEO who rises, falls, and awakens to a reality he never expected. A reality that changes everything he thought he knew about wealth, responsibility, and family. Settle in, because this is a journey you won't forget. The night started with glittering lights, live music, and rows of guests dressed like royalty. At the center of it all was Adrian Kane, a 38-year-old millionaire CEO known for buying companies the way most people buy groceries. He walked through the golden ballroom like he owned it, and technically he did. The party was held in the penthouse of his newest luxury hotel, celebrating yet another business acquisition. Champagne flowed like water, guests laughed around him, and flashbulbs flicked every time he turned his head. Adrian cut an impressive figure, tailored black suit, dark hair slicked back, expression sharp enough to cut glass. He was the kind of man who always looked like he had a plan, but inside, beneath the crisp shirt and confident smirk, he felt an exhaustion he couldn't shake. For weeks, the board had pushed him harder than ever. Mergers, meetings, negotiations. Every day had been another battlefield, and tonight his body felt heavy, like it was begging him to rest for the first time in years. But image was everything. He couldn't let anyone see weakness. So he kept drinking, kept laughing, kept nodding at people he barely recognized. His assistant whispered reminders in his ear about whom to greet, which investors were watching, which cameras were rolling. The heat in the room built as more people crowded around him. His head throbbed, his vision blurred around the edges. He reached for another glass, but his fingers trembled. A strange dizziness washed over him, strong, sudden, wrong. He blinked to steady himself, but everything was spinning. He tried to speak, to call for someone, anyone, but the world collapsed into a smear of lights and echoes. His knees buckled, the champagne glass slipped from his hand, and before he could understand what was happening, the floor rushed up to meet him. Darkness swallowed everything. There was no sound, no movement, just a deep, heavy sleep that felt like it lasted forever. Then a voice, soft, curious, "Mommy, is he awake?" Adrian's eyes fluttered open. The ceiling above him wasn't made of glass or gold. It was a sheet of corrugated metal. The walls weren't white marble, but dusty concrete. A faint scent of motor oil and old tools filled the air. This was not the penthouse. He tried to sit up and groaned. His head pounded, but he managed to take in the cramped space. An old mechanic's garage, cluttered with spare tires, rusty tools, and a half-disassembled car. A tiny electric heater hummed nearby, giving off a small pool of warmth. A little girl with curly brown hair stood a few steps away from him, clutching a stuffed rabbit. Her big hazel eyes stared at him with a mix of innocence and concern. Beside her, a woman knelt, mid-20s, worn jeans, oversized hoodie, hair pulled back under a bandana. She looked cautious, ready to pull the child behind her if needed. "Don't move too fast," the woman said. "You fainted outside our door last night. Hit the ground pretty hard." Adrian blinked. Last night. He remembered the party, the dizziness, collapsing, and then nothing. How? How did I get here? He asked. The woman shrugged. "Found you lying in the alley behind the shop. I thought you were, well, dead. My daughter didn't want to leave you out in the cold." The girl hugged her rabbit tighter. He looked sad. She whispered. Adrian rubbed his temples. His wallet was gone. His phone, his watch, everything expensive he normally carried, vanished. He swallowed hard, mugged, drugged, both. The shock hit him like a wave. Someone had taken advantage of him the moment he collapsed. He pushed himself upright. "Listen, I need to contact my office immediately. I need a phone." The woman didn't move. Her expression was guarded, skeptical. I don't know who you are, but people who wear suits like that don't usually pass out in alleys, and they definitely don't end up here unless something shady happened. Adrian bristled. I'm Adrian Kane. She raised an eyebrow. Good for you. He stared at her. You don't know who I am. No, she said flatly. Should I? He let out a breath. He wasn't used to this people not recognizing him. People not caring about his last name. People looking at him like he was just some guy, my assistant. He said, she'll be trying to reach me, my security team. They must be searching for. Slow down, the woman interrupted. You can use my phone after breakfast. You need to hydrate first before you pass out again. I can't drag your heavy self twice. He almost protested again, but his body ached, his throat burned, and he suddenly realized how weak he felt. Pride wouldn't help him now. The girl handed him a cup of water with both hands. My name's Lily, she said shyly. What's yours again? Adrian, he said, taking the water. Her small smile warmed the cold room. Breakfast was simple, scrambled eggs and toast made on a portable stove. Adrian sat at a makeshift table while Lily hummed to herself and drew pictures on scrap paper. The woman, who finally introduced herself as Mara, kept glancing at him like he might be trouble. What were you doing out there? She asked. Business guy like you doesn't belong in a place like this. Adrian hesitated. I fainted at a company event. Someone must have taken my things. Mara nodded slowly. Makes sense. We get a lot of drunks in that alley, but you're the first one wearing a suit that costs more than my annual rent. He almost corrected her. His suit cost more than 3 years of her rent, but stopped himself. Lily climbed onto the chair next to him, swinging her legs. Mommy fixes cars, she said proudly. She fixed Mr. Harper's truck last week, and he said it runs better than when he bought it. Mara's eyes softened at her daughter's excitement. I used to work at a big shop across town, got laid off 6 months ago, been doing my own thing since then. Adrian studied the worn tools around the room, clearly old but well cared for. Despite the clutter, everything was organized. Efficient, professional, the garage wasn't just a place to survive. It was a place she was trying to rebuild her life from. After breakfast, Mara handed him her old phone. The screen was cracked, but it worked. He dialed the number of his assistant. No answer. He tried the office line. Nothing. He frowned. That's impossible. Mara crossed her arms. Maybe your phone got reset or stolen. Thieves can wipe data fast. No, Adrian insisted. Even if my phone was wiped, my team should have done something. Someone would have. But before he could finish, the phone battery died. Great. He stood up. I need to get back to the city. Mara shrugged. Nearest bus stop is a 20-minute walk. If your wallet's gone, I'm not sure how far you'll get. Lily tugged on his sleeve. You can stay until you're all better, she offered. Mommy says it's not safe to walk places when you're dizzy, and you looked super dizzy. Adrian felt a strange tug at his chest. Lily's concern was genuine, the kind he rarely received even from adults who pretended to care about him. Mara sighed. One day, you can rest one day. After that, you'll have to figure out your life, Mr. CEO. If you really are one. He stayed. Not because he needed to, but because he couldn't remember the last time someone spoke to him like a human being instead of a business asset. The hours passed slowly. Lily showed him her drawings, crayon sketches of cars, rabbits, and a little house with flowers outside. Mara repaired a carburetor while humming softly. Adrian found himself watching them more than he meant to. There was a peace here, a quiet simplicity he hadn't experienced since childhood. That afternoon, Mara took a call from a customer and stepped outside. Lily sat cross-legged on the floor, focused on building a tiny car out of broken metal scraps. Why were you sad? She asked suddenly without looking up. He blinked. Sad? Last night, she said. Your eyes looked sad before you fell. He hesitated. No one had asked him that in years. I don't know, he admitted, maybe because everything was too much. Lily nodded like she understood completely. Mommy says when the world gets too loud, you have to listen to your heart instead. Hearts talk quiet. He smiled slightly. Your mother is very wise. She's the best. Lily said matter-of-factly. She fixes everything. When Mara returned, they exchanged a small, reluctant smile, almost like the beginning of trust. As evening approached, Adrian tried the phone again after Mara charged it. Still no answers from his office, security, or any of his contacts. No messages, no missed calls. It didn't make sense. Someone should have been searching for him. The news should have been reporting his disappearance. Unless no one noticed, the realization hit him hard. He had built a life so automated, so delegated, so distant, that his absence didn't ripple through anyone's world, except maybe shareholders who only cared about the next quarter's numbers. He stared at the dark phone screen, suddenly feeling hollow. Mara noticed his expression. Still nothing. He shook his head. She exhaled. Look. I'm not trying to be rude, but maybe this is a sign. You said everything was too much. Maybe this is the universe giving you a break. A break? He echoed incredulously. This is a disaster, or a reset. She countered. He looked away. I don't do resets. Maybe you should. Her words lingered in the air. That night, he slept on a makeshift cot in the corner. It was uncomfortable. The air smelled like oil, and the heater buzzed loudly. But strangely, he slept deeper than he had in months. Morning light crept through the windows. Lily giggled as she stacked boxes into a tower. Mara brewed cheap but strong coffee. Adrian stretched and felt something loosen inside him. Stress he didn't even realize he carried. He took the phone again and tried calling his office for the 100th time. This time, someone answered. Adrian. His assistant's voice came through, breathless, panicked. Where have you been? We thought. You disappeared. There were rumors you were kidnapped. I'm fine, he said. I just blacked out. Someone took my things. We've been searching everywhere, she said. Your security team is going crazy. A strange guilt twisted in his stomach. They had been searching. They had noticed. Maybe he wasn't as alone as he thought. I'll be back soon, he said. Mara crossed her arms, watching him. Time for you to go, then. He nodded slowly. Yes, I suppose it is. Lily ran to him and hugged his leg. Will you come back? He froze. He didn't know the answer. But as her tiny arms squeezed him, something in his heart cracked open. Yes, he said softly, I'll come back. He didn't leave immediately. Instead, he insisted on giving Mara money, not charity, but repayment for saving his life, caring for him, and giving him a place to rest when he had nothing. She refused at first, pride flashing in her eyes. But he pressed the bills into her hand gently. This isn't pity, it's gratitude, and it's respect for what you're building here. Her expression softened. Fine, but only because Lily would be mad if I said no. He chuckled. Before he left, he knelt down to Lily's level. Thank you, he whispered. She grinned. I'm glad you're not sad anymore. He wasn't, not in the same way. As he stepped outside into the crisp morning air, he looked back at the small garage, the place where he had woken up stripped of everything, yet somehow gained something far more important, perspective. Connection, and maybe the beginning of a new story. The car his assistant sent pulled up minutes later. As he rode away, he watched the garage shrink in the rear window. He knew he'd return, not as the millionaire CEO searching for lost things, but as a man who had finally found something worth keeping. And that's the story of how a man with everything woke up in a mechanic's garage and discovered the one thing money couldn't buy: humanity, hope, and the innocent kindness of a little girl who saw his sadness before he even knew it was there. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful tales that touch the soul. Let me know if you want a sequel or continuation of their journey.